Hello and how are you? My name is Mahindumbar and I welcome you to our 20th, if not 21st, 20th lecture of our learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. In the previous videos, we've been doing what? We've been doing a diary application, and you've been following, and you know where we are right now. We're in the level of displaying the records that were saved and display them on what? On the screen. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, without wasting much time, let's go straight into the business. So I was here. We were here. All right, so we have this list builder. This list builder is surrounded by what? By what we call a refresh indicator. This refresh indicator, it is a user interface that helps someone to pull down a certain scrollable item. And once they pull it down, that refresh indicator, it calls a certain what? A certain function. So this, when you pull like this refresh indicator, it calls init screen here. This init screen is a function that you created, okay? So it means that every time you pull, it automatically pulls this one. Let me, for example, let me do like just toast, utils.toast. Now I have this function called utils. So let me put toast and then just toast the name of the person who is logged in. So if I do something like this, it means that every time I call it, it calls this name. I mean, it calls this method. Every time I do what? I refresh, it calls this method. So that's what the indicator does. So it means that every time someone will pull here, we want to do what? We want to refresh. Okay, we want to get the data from what? From the database. All right, so with that much said, let's go ahead and write the logic of now displaying the real data that comes from the database. So what we're going to do, we are going to write the logic of fetching the data from the what? From the database of what? Of diary notes or the diary records. This one here. We have not written the select. Okay, we have not written the select. Now we're going to put there the what? The select. Okay, so we already have a select for users, so we're just going to copy that one and duplicate it and then modify it accordingly. So this is the select for users. Where is it? Get items, called get items. So this one, so you can name it anywhere you want. So I'm going to copy this one. I just first collapse it and then I copy it. Then I come to our mode of what? Of diary records here. This mode of diary records, and then I paste it here like this. All right, so I'm just going to copy this name of the model, and then I say this will return a what? It will return a list of what? Of diary records. It will also take a what? A where function. I mean a where parameter. I already demonstrated this in the previous lecture. Okay, so here I initialize the database. Here I initialize the database. Here I initialize the table. So let me remove this so that I can initialize the table that is here. And then I check if the table was initialized successfully. I've already explained how we initialize table. I've already explained that logic. So if you click on it, you will see how the table is being initialized. We explained it in the previous video. After initializing the table, the next thing, I now get the data from the database, which is going to be db query, and then put the name of the function, then put where, and then they put the where function here. Then after, I go ahead and create a list of items, which is going to be a list of what? Of diary records. Then I loop. Okay, I loop through the map that has come from the database. As I'm looping, I am adding there the what? I'm adding there the each map into the what? Into these items records. So we have to have a function that converts we have to have a function that converts a JSON, or that converts a map object from the database to the object. So we call it from JSON. You can call it anything that you want. Okay, so I have it here. It's called from JSON. So I'm just going to copy this one and modify it accordingly. So I'm just going to put here the from JSON, right? So this from JSON is going to be returning what? It's going to be returning the diary record. So it's going to be here diary record, and then it's equals to diary record. I initialize it. Then after, I copy the ID, I copy the user ID, I copy the title, I copy the description, and then I copy the date, and then I do what? I return the item. So this item will be able to convert the JSON data or the map data from it to what? To an object of what? Of a record. Okay, so that's why I want it. So I'll loop as I'm converting from the JSON that is coming from the database, and then as I add them here in the what? In the items, and then I return. So by doing like this, it will be able to get for us the items that are in the local database. So let's go ahead and now create a list of what? Of diary records. So I'll go to the home screen. The home screen is this one, and I'm going to come here to public here on top here, and create a list that's going to be public list, and then I put diary model, I mean diary record model, and then I can call it maybe diary records or items or anything that you want, equals to, I initialize it to an empty array by default. So after doing that, now I need to write the logic that is going to be fetching it from what? From the database. So how will I do that? I'll just simply say, I'll come here to the initialize here. After getting the user, the next thing I'll say records equals to await diary records dot what? Dot get items. So this one will be able to get the item from the database and then keep them in this record. And then I go ahead and do what? And set state, so it can update the whole screen. So after doing that, still our records are not displaying on the screen. So after doing that, we're going to display this record on screen by just simply coming here to where there is our list builder. Alright, okay. So instead of putting here this dummy count, we can just simply say records dot what? Dot length. So when you say dot length, it will go ahead and get the items and count their length and then put them here. Okay. So now another thing that we were not put in consideration is that the records that are created by this user, this particular user. So we'll have to come back and put here a where, because we don't need the information to leak. So it's a where user ID equals to what? This person who is logged in ID. So it's going to be bracket dot ID, user dot ID, that one. All right. So by doing like that, it should be able to bring the records of this particular individual only. So this is the only individual who is logged in, who has created some records. That's why I see I'm able to see only these records. All right. So I hope that's understandable now. So now let's go ahead and display now the real information. So I'll come here. So every time it loops here, it gives you an index. Okay. So I can just simply create here my temporary variable that I'm going to call list. I'm going to call diary record, and I call it temporary, something like that, equals to, and then I say records, and I open the curly bracket, the square bracket, and I pass the index. So it means that when it is 0, it gives us the item that is at position 0. When it has 1, it gives us the item at position 1. When it has this, like something like that, right? So I'm just going to return. Okay, I return a list tile. I hope we are together, right? This is just a user interface. So in this list style, you're going to have the title, which is going to be the title. Okay, the title, and then the date when this record was created, and then maybe the button for deleting. Okay, the button for deleting, and then after we are going to have the button for deleting. This button for deleting is nothing but a trailing button, which is having an icon button, an icon for delete. And then after, you're going to have, that's all I think. This is just a title, and then the subtitle is a date. This date you can change it to any format that you want. And then you have here the button for deleting. So I want, like, when you click on this button of deleting, you should be able to do what? To delete. It's nothing but a button for deleting. So if I refresh, you'll see I'm able to see the items. All right, so I want now to see, if I click on this delete, you should be able to delete that record from what? From the database. So let's go ahead and do that logic of deleting the record from the database. So we can create now that method for delete self. I can say delete item, something like that, delete. So let's go ahead and go to the records model, and then write the method that can be used for deleting. So I'll come in the records model, and then I come and create the method for deleting. All right, so it's going to be delete. All right, so you can make it also asynchronous, and then let's make also wait as future, and then it returns void for the sake of saving time, void. So I want right now here the logic of deleting. So the first thing, we'll have to make sure the table is initialized. Sorry about that, it is so fast. See here I make sure the table is initialized, the database and the table. I want to make sure that everything is well initialized. I go ahead and write try. So it's going to be try. I wait, say db.delete, and then I put where. So in the where, I put where, and then put id equals question mark, and then where arguments, I put the id itself. So it means that it's going to do what? To delete where the id is here. So that's how you can write the delete. So if it fails, I can return back the fail, something like that. So it's a method that I can use for deleting a particular item. You can pause the video and see it clearly. It is very straightforward. Okay, so let's go ahead and now delete. So it means that here, when I click on delete, it will delete it will wait for the item to delete. After deleting, then it initializes, it calls again the init state. Okay, so after deleting, I need to update the list. So when after deleting, I call the initialize state. Okay, so that's how you can work with with the deleting. So I hope this one works. Let's go ahead and try. When I delete, let me first update. When I delete, you see it is gone. It is gone. There is nothing there. All right, there is nothing. Okay, so now we can say if there is nothing, let's show the user that there is nothing in the screen. Okay, so to do that, you can just simply come here and say, come here on top, for example on the refresh indicator, and let's say if record is empty, put question mark, then go ahead and create a center, and then say you have no records. Okay, so you see if record is empty, I just simply create center, and then say put the text of no records found, or you have say no notes, and then I put here a colon, and then if there is no record, I put the refresh indicator with the data inside between. So you can as well do that. I see there's no record. Okay, let's add there some record. Go ahead and add. Okay, so you see the system is not automatically refreshing that record. Okay, it's not automatically adding that record. So if you want to add that record, what you do, you'll have to wait for the for the other screen to finish, and then refresh the screen. Okay, so how do you do that? So we'll come here to the refresh indicator, which is here, this refresh indicator, and wait for it to finish. So we are coming here to the floating button. So when we navigate to add record, we'll wait for that additional record to finish. So you have to put here asynchronous. When it finishes, you call the init screen. So when it finishes adding the record, you refresh the screen. So by doing like this, let me first update. By doing like this, we should have a record added here immediately when it is done. So come here, select the date, when I say what? When I say create record, you'll see it automatically refreshes and add that data in the what? In the screen. Alright? So you can come here and add more things in your what? In your diary. Say create record, you see automatically it is here. Okay, delete, it goes. All right, so that gives you that ability for you to create and delete a record. So lastly, let's go ahead and see now maybe how you can pass this record into another screen and be able to display that record in another screen. Okay, I want, like, when I click here, when I click on this item, it should give me the details of this of this item. So how do we do that? So we're going to create a second screen that is going to be a detailed screen that will be showing the detail of an item that you've clicked on. So let's go ahead and do that. So you're learning all these things in one package. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's create a single detail screen. Okay, so that screen is going to look like which screen? It is going to look like what? Like which screen? I don't want I want to duplicate one screen and I use that one. Okay, let's just duplicate screen number 6. So I'll copy it and then paste. I'm going to call it number 7, and then I call it app diary record, and then I say maybe app diary record details. Okay, this was record create. This will be record details or record details or record screen. Okay, so it will be responsible for displaying the screen records. So this was number 6, this will be number 7. Alright, press enter. So I'll go ahead and rename this name class. So I'll copy the class and then press Ctrl F to search it, and then press Alt and enter to rename it. Okay, so it's going to be here. Instead of create, I'm going to put here details screen. Details screen. Okay, so after doing that, I want to be displaying here record details. So I'll come and change the title and say record details. All right, so I'll go ahead and copy this screen. I want when someone clicks on this item, you should be taken to this screen that will show the details of that screen. So I'll copy that screen and then come to what? And then come to number 6. The home screen here. Now I'm going to put a listener to each list item. So I'll come to a list builder, which is this one. And then I come to this list tile. This list tile has a listener, as I told you. It has a listener called on what? On tap. And then I'll go ahead and open this record and navigate. You know how to navigate from one screen to another. Alright, so after doing that, I update the screen, so it means that now this one will be clickable. However, this is also clickable. So when I click on this, you see, it takes me to that screen. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be app diary details screen, not record screen, like this. save. When I click, takes me to record details. Okay, so I want now to display the details of that record, not the form, but the details of that record. So if you want to display the detail of that record, what does it mean? It means that this screen should be able to receive that data. Okay, so what I'm going to do in the constructor of this screen of app details, I'm going to tell it to wait, or to only accept it to be called after it has been provided a record. Okay, a record. So I'll come here and then say diary record model. I say item, and then say equals to the record, and then like this. Okay, so I do it like that. So it means that this is going to be initialized to this. Okay, so sorry, I can even remove it here. So I remove this constant. Now if I want this screen to accept this record, I'll have to put here this dot item. So it means that whoever calls this screen of details, he must provide it a record that it should be displayed. Now I want to list now. It means that now when you come back here to the home page here, it means that this will give a warning. Why? Because it expects it to receive a record. So I can just simply pass this temporary record in here like this. So by doing like that, you can be able to pass data from one screen to another. So if I click here, everything is okay. Now what I want to do right now is now to display the item, the item with this record, with these details. So I can just simply now come here and then come to this. I remove this form because we need the form. Okay, let me remove the whole container. And then after removing the whole container, so since we don't know how big a record can be, so I can put here what we call a single scroll view, single child scroll view, this one, because we don't know how big something can be. And then you start putting, maybe give it a child of a column, and then after you give it children, and then you start putting the data that you want to display. For example, we want to display the details. For example, okay, you first need to display the title of the record. So I can display the title of the record by just simply creating, for example, title, then the value, title and the value, title and the value, something like that. So to do that, we can, okay, let's first display. Okay, so if you want to display the title of the record, so it's going to be text, and then maybe I want to say title. Okay, then after title, I'm going to follow it with with the record itself. Okay, so to display the record itself is going to be so if you want to access the data that has been sent in the stateful widget, what you do, you use what you call widget. So widget is inbuilt Flutter item that can help you to access things that are in this main class. So you just simply say widget and then say dot item. So in say widget, it will take you on top here. It should all be in small letters, and then put dot, and then you say dot, you'll be able to access things that are up there. Dot item, then you say dot title. So by doing like this, you'll be able to display the title that in the other side. All right, so you can see that, I hope. Okay, so you see I'm able to see this. So I can just simply write my widget that can be used to separate these things. Okay, or you can just simply first cross align and make them always start like this, then come and put the padding. Okay, this single scroll view accepts padding, so I say put padding all and then put like 20. All right, so there we are. That's the item, and then it records. All right, so after doing that, the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to now put the maybe what we call a divider here. Divider, create a divider between, and then maybe I can increase the size of the of the content, okay, like this. So something like that, title like that, and then I can go ahead and put more things on top of it. So alright, so I can go ahead and display the date. I can begin with the date. So I've just duplicated it. Should we put a divider? I don't know. Like this? I don't know. I can remove it. Okay, so maybe I can put a separator sized box and then put 8 and say 20. Okay, so that is okay, I think. So I can come and put here, for example, date, and I've shown how to access it. It's through widget, item, and then you can, for example, get the date from here, like that. All right. So after doing that, the next thing is the title. You can display the title like that. So after doing that, the next thing is the, for example, the details. So put description and then put widget description like this. So when you save, you'll have the description. So what does this mean? It means that you can go back and click on a separate item. This one is it. You see some data, and then I claim here. You see I have some date, something like that. So that is how you can display items from different screen. Okay, data from different screen to another screen. Okay, from one screen to another screen. Okay, so that is our simple diary book. So I want us to use the remaining minutes of how you can edit. Okay, now what if you want to edit the record? Well, how can you do it? So that can be homework for you to do that logic of editing a record, because I've literally taught you many things. Okay, so you can try if I want to edit. Okay, so we are having 13 minutes. Let's use those 13 minutes maybe to approach the edit. So if I want to edit, I'm going to put here the editing icon in front here, so someone should be able to edit. But literally right now someone can do almost everything. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the icon for editing. So I hope you're on the same page with me. I hope so. So I'll come here to the home page and then come to our list tile and then come to our leading. Come and add what we call leading. Okay, so I can duplicate even this trailing and add what we call leading. Okay. So this leading is something that will be in front there. So I can put here. I can put here edit icon. And then we'll have something like that. So I want when someone clicks on when someone clicks on this, you should be able to do what? To edit. Okay. Oh, I've just deleted them. I don't updated them. So let me add, say this date. Test 1. Some details about test 1. All right. So I want when someone clicks here, you should be able to edit. So there are so many ways you can do that. You can use the same form that we have been using, or you can use a separate form. Okay, so if you want to use the same form, of course you have to write a lot of logic, but the more you write that logic can save your time, can also save you in efficient. If you want a simple thing, you can write just a separate form. So let us do a hard thing. Okay, so I want to do to be able to edit this record that is there in the system. So how are we going to do that? Okay, let's go ahead and face it. Okay, so if you want to edit, what we're going to do, we're going to use the same form. Okay, so I'm going to use the same form of creating. So the form of creating is where is on top here. I'm just going to come and copy it and then come to our icon of editing, okay, here, and then I'm going to pass to this form of creating, I'm going to pass to it something that we need to edit, okay, so which I'll pass here in front. So it means that this is not going to, it's going to ask us to provide an item that has to be edited, okay. So we're going to go ahead and make this one to accept an item that is going to be edited. So I'll just simply come here to create screen, and then this create screen, like the way we received in the details, you can also go ahead and add here the record, okay. Okay, so it's going to be like the record, all right, record here, and then here we're going to accept this dot item. So it means that everyone who calls this, he must provide that record, okay. You can as well make it option. I think to make it option, let me see if we can make it option. You can just simply come here, let me see if it can be accepted, and then say item like this. I think it's not accepted. I think it's not accepted. So that everyone who calls this function, he must provide it an item. So it means that when you're creating, even you have to provide it a blank what? A blank record. Okay, so I'll come here and I provide it a what? A blank diary record like this. So when I'm creating I provide it a blank diary record. So this blank diary record, it has no ID. It has an ID of 0. But when I'm editing, when I click on edit, I provide it also a record of a diary, this temporary one. But the difference is this one has an ID which is greater than 1. This one which is greater than 0. This one has no ID. Alright? It has an ID of 0. This one when you're creating, okay? This one here. So let's go ahead and see. So what's the error about? So let me go ahead and update the screen. What is it saying? Okay, it's not perform or to reload. Let me refresh the whole app. All right, so you see when I click here, it shows there. So now we need to know the task that is being worked upon, okay, at this, so that we should show the right words if it is either updating or creating a new record. So the one way of how you can do that, you can just check if the record that has been brought to this screen is having ID which is greater than 0, then you know that is editing. If it doesn't have an ID, let's say it has an ID 0, then you know that is creating. Okay, so I'm going to come here to our create screen, which is this one here. I'm going to put here some variable called is editing. So it's going to be boolean, and I'm going to call it is editing. Okay, is edit. So by default it is going to be false, meaning that if you come by default, it is not going to be like you're editing something. Okay, it's going to be like you're not editing, you're creating something new. So this variable, how will I know that something is being created? I'm going to put it here in the init state. In the init state. So when you come in this init state, of course, we will have something that we have provided on top here, so that when you proceed, we already know whether you're editing or not. So I'm just going to come in this init state and say if the widget item that has been provided has an ID that is less than 1, then I know that is edit is false. All right, else it is true. If your ID is greater than or equal to 1, okay, if your ID is greater than or equal to 1, then I know you are editing. If your ID is less than 1, then I know you're not editing, you're creating. All right, I hope you understand that. So it is inside this init state, so it will be implemented immediately when the screen is opened. So it means that I can come and start displaying the right words. All right, so the right words, for example, this word, instead of putting creating, okay, for example here, instead of putting the word creating record, I can just simply come and put here is editing question mark. So if is editing record is true, I'll just display the word update record. I can even go ahead and display that record ID, which is going to be an item and then an ID, something like that. I hope we are together. Okay, I hope we are together. So if is edit is true, the word will change to update. If edit is not true, the word will remain is creating record. All right, let's go ahead and try that. So when I create a record, you see creating a record. When I edit a record, you see, wait, let me first update. I think I have not updated. All right, when I'm editing a record, wait. Let me see if is edit, if ID is greater than or equal to 1, then is editing is true, else it is false. I think that is okay. Let's first add one more item. Let's add an item. So say record number 2 some details. All right, I save it. All right, so when I come here to record number 2, it's not changing, creating, still creating. Why? Let's go ahead and see what could be causing that. Oh yeah, widget that items. Let me see, let us see what could be causing that. Okay, let's display the IDs and see if the IDs are really correct. So I'll come here to the main screen, to the main app, and then let's display the IDs here. Alright, I want to display here in front the ID and see are the IDs really greater than 1. Okay, yeah, the IDs are greater than 1. Good. Alright, so when I click on edit, alright, so I should be passing this item here, up there, create screen. Okay, so in the init state, I check if the widget of item has ID that's greater than 1, then is edit is true, else edit is false. Alright, when I go ahead and do that, so I come here to okay, I think yeah, I think you can see I've been using this. Everything is alright, only that I've been updating this word, updating record. I was expecting it here to be in title. I think it's alright. So I can just come here also in the title and put if is editing, and then I just simply say updating record what. So like this. Now if I come, see the word has changed to updating record. When I click on new, see creating record. Okay, so when I click here, updating record. Okay, so that is okay. Now I want to display this ID. So you know we have here an item. So there are two ways. You can either use this item or you can use the item in the widget. Okay, so if I want to use this item, I'll make sure that I initialize it when the system begins, when the screen begins. So I'll come here to the init. Immediately when the init when it starts, I go ahead and collect the item.id. Item equals to the item in the what, in the widget. Okay, so that this item that is using to update the form is equivalent to the item data that are coming from the widget. All right, so if I save and I try to edit again, you'll see. Wait, let me update. and I try to edit, you'll see I'm able to see the item ID. All right, good. Now another thing is I want the data to be there by default. Okay, I want the data to be there by default. All right, so if you want to do that, what does it mean? It means that if I'm editing, the data should be found there. So if you want to do that, you will have to come, for example, to where there is title, and put what you call initial value, then put item.title. Then come to where there is description, also pass what you call initial value, put item.description. So if I come back and I try to edit, click on edit, you'll see the records data is already there. The records data is already there. All right, so you can also initialize for the date. So I want you to do the logic of updating. I don't know if you can do it in 5 minutes, so you can just finish this up once and for all. All right, let's go ahead and put the date. So the date is not coming because the date need to be in a function of pass of date time. So you can create a function that's separately for passing date time. So I can just come here to our utilities and create a function that will change a string to time. Maybe I said to date time. It will be maybe static, dynamic. It will be returning maybe dynamic data. So it will be accepting the date time string. Okay, so I'll first check if this date time string is empty. If it has given us an empty thing, okay, I'll just return null. Okay, return null just in case that is empty. So if it is not empty, I'll create here date time variable, and then I say, after creating the date time variable, I think I put here .now, and then I write try and catch, because someone can give you a date that is not in right format. So I say try and catch date time equals to datetime.pass. So the datetime.pass, it will convert the string date to what? To a string object. Then after I return the DT, the date time. So this static function, I can call it when I want to initialize the what? This date time here on top here. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I come here to the app record create, so here in the initial value of the date and time, just put the date and time. So I'll go ahead and put utils, because it has to accept this, it does not accept the string, and then I put to date and time, and then I pass the item.date. Okay, so this one will make sure that the date is correct, and then return it back, okay, without making an error. Let's go ahead and try that. See, it turns back the correct date. Okay, see, this is 12, this is 11th, this is 12th of November, 2nd of November. So that one is all right. So it means that now we can be able to retrieve our record. Okay, so the last thing is, now when you're saving, it will not update because we are not having the ID. Instead, it's going to create the third record. You see, when I click save, it is creating the third record. Okay, when I click again, and when I come here and edit, and I click maybe save, it is creating what? Another record. Why? You remember the reason why that one is like that. The reason is because when we are converting to JSON, we check if we don't put an ID, so an ID is being skipped and the new record is being created. So to solve that, we just simply come here to JSON. Here when I'm converting to JSON, all right. So I'll check. So I can first create maybe my map and my map here, and then say maybe temp equals to the map, and then I return this map. Okay, you know this ID is not included here. ID is not included. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to check if ID is greater than 0, okay, then it should be included. Okay, so if id is greater than 0, I go ahead and include id. If it is not greater than 0, then I should not do what? I should not include the id. By doing that, it will always include the id unless it is greater than 0. Maybe unless when you are updating. So it will go ahead and use the logic of update. So let's go ahead and try that out. Okay, this is to JSON, right? So let's go ahead and try that out. So now when I come here to edit, number 10, record number 10, it is having 33 here. Let me put 33, 10, and I update, you'll see it is 33, 10. When I come here and I change it, maybe I say going to play Kwepicha football. I'm going to play football, okay? And I save, you see, going to play football as updated because of this logic. When I create a new record, then say maybe on this day, and I say maybe at 11 a.m. I'll go and visit my friend Smile, something like that, and then put here some details about that record. Okay, then when I save, you'll see it has successfully visited my friend Smile. So here also in the records, you may decide even the order. You may decide the order, you see, like you want the record that is most latest to be on top, you can decide all that. You see when here you're selecting, where is select? Init table, get items here. You can put order by as well. It is also accepted. So you can say date ascending. So you can say the ID descending. So it will always give you the most latest to be on top. When I refresh, you'll see the most latest is on top. So I can delete. I can change my mind that I'll not play football. Maybe I'll go to gym. I'll say going to gym. And then when I save, you see, going to gym. So by doing like that, you'll be able to practice. You know, it can be boring. I know you can find a lot of challenges, but being able to practice these things by your own, you'll be able to understand from those challenges that you'll face. You'll be able to understand how to solve different problems. You'll be able to get this experience by your own self, by not just watching a tutorial or by someone doing it for you. And from these things that we have covered here, you can be able to come up with different ideas, even much more better than this one. How to get someone who is logged in, how to log in someone, how to make sure you don't go back to the previous screen, how to edit, how to update, converting data to JSON. Putting all these things together, they can help you to try out your own idea that I have not demonstrated here. So please don't get demoralized. Don't fear. All these things are really they are really possible, and you can really do them. Okay, you can really do them. So go ahead and try out, though it can be so boring. Okay, though it can be so boring, but it can be worth it. Okay, so you see, this is an application that is having offline capabilities. So what does it mean? If once you learn how to connect with an API, it means that you can create for someone an application that collects data from internet, and they can use it even when they don't have internet. That's a very powerful tool that you can use to create a lot of ideas. So lastly, let us go ahead and log out. This is in Baby Cool. Let me log in Jose. So I'll log out. I'll go ahead and log in as Jose. So Jose should not be able to see things of Baby Cool. Jose, password 1 2 3 4 5 6. That is Jose, logged in successfully. He has no record there. Hello, Jose Chameleon. Okay, I put there. Maybe I'll put here, and then I say on this date I'll go for boat cruise. This is the spelling. I don't know. Some details about the bot. Just a sample. So this is Chameleon has created the first record. Maybe I'll say on that date I'll go and visit who? Visit Shiba Karungi. Okay, on that date I'll visit Shiba Karungi. Some details about Shiba. Okay, so I save. I can change my mind. I say no, I'll not visit Shiba. I'll visit Cindy Sanyu. I update, so it updates from Shiba Karungi to Cindy Sanyu, and I can be able to refresh, and you see there's nothing like loading. So this is Jose Chameleon. He is logged in. He can even be able to do what? To delete. So he has record. Jose Chameleon has one record. So when Jose Chameleon logs out, let us log in again, Bebe, and see if Bebe can find his record there. Bebe 1 2 3 4 5 6. Bebe logs in. He finds his 6 records there. So that is so beautiful, and there's a lot of things that I've covered in this. So just put your ass down, be humble, and watch those boring tutorials and concentrate on them and make sure that you understand them. Once you understand them, you'll have power, you'll have the knowledge that no one else will ever take away from you. Whether it's me, I've changed my mind that I don't want to teach you, you'll have got it forever. It will be in your brain. It is more than just a capital of money that if I change my mind, I can come and collect my money from you. This knowledge will always be in your brains forever. Alright, that makes our today's class, and I will upload the videos and share with you, and we recommend you to do what? To watch and practice on your